Bursting into the clearing, the ruins came into view. The sight of the ancient stones gave him hope, but the forest's edge seemed alive with unseen threats. Reaching the barrier's former location, he turned, panting, cradling the glowing creature as the forest fell silent once more. As he stood where the barrier should be, his heart pounded. In the distance beyond the edge of the forest, he saw them, glowing eyes not in dozens but in thousands, peering out from the underbrush and between the trunks of the towering trees. Growls and barks echoed through the stillness, a low chorus of menace. Despite the terror clawing at his chest, the young man didn't regret saving the creature. He knew instinctively that this choice defined him. Whether he had memories or not, this was who he was. Lowering the glowing creature gently to the ground, he tore a strip of fabric from his tattered clothes and began wrapping its wounded leg. The creature remained still, its 4 blue eyes fixed on him as though understanding the intent. His hands trembled as he finished the makeshift bandage and looked up at the ruins, hoping the barrier would somehow reform and keep the unseen predators at bay. The forest stirred again, shadows shifting and branches cracking under unseen movement. He clenched his fists, preparing for whatever came next. The statue's voice rumbled once more, breaking the silence. "You have returned," it said, its tone neither surprised nor welcoming. "And you brought something with you. Intriguing?" The man turned sharply toward the statue, still cradling the glowing creature. "I didn't have a choice," he said, breathless. "It was hurt, and those things out there, they were coming for it." The statue's eyes glowed faintly, studying both him and the creature. "Perhaps you are braver than most, or more foolish," it said, "but courage and folly often walk hand in hand. The forest has tested you, yet the true test begins now." The man swallowed hard, his exhaustion evident. "What do you mean?" The statue's eyes flared slightly, as though weighing his soul. "The trial is not one of strength, but of your nature," it said. "The wolves that pursued you were not mere beasts. They are fragments of chaos, drawn to weakness and malice. Yet you chose to protect, not to harm. That choice has already set events in motion." The man looked down at the glowing creature, now resting quietly. "Was this a test?" "Everything is a test," the statue replied. "And yet this test is far from over. Your compassion has revealed a spark, but whether it is light or shadow remains to be seen." Before the nameless man could respond, a chorus of snarls and howls erupted from the forest. The trees shuddered as dark shapes began to emerge. Dozens of wolves with glowing eyes, their forms slipping through the shadows like living nightmares. The man's breath caught in his throat, but he forced himself to stand firm. "I won't abandon it," he said, his voice shaking but resolute. He stepped protectively in front of the injured creature, his hands clenched into fists. "I don't care what happens to me, I'll defend it." The statue's eyes flared brighter, and with a grinding sound, stone shifted. Before the man, a blade materialized, floating above a pedestal of glowing light. Its surface shimmered, etched with runes that pulsed faintly. "Take it," the statue's voice commanded. "This sword will aid you against the beasts. But know this, there is another path." A swirling portal opened beside the pedestal, its edges crackling with raw energy. "Step through, and you will find safety," the statue said. "But only you may cross. The creature will be left behind, and its fate sealed. The choice is yours. Fight with the blade and face the chaos, or flee and save yourself." The statue's eyes flared brightly, illuminating the clearing. "Good," it rumbled. "Then let the trial begin. But know this, though I grant you this blade, it is not enough. There are too many and they are hungry. This is a battle you cannot win. Should you choose to stay, you will face death. Yet if you flee, the creature will die. The decision is yours." The wolves surged forward, their eyes burning like embers. The man braced himself, ready to fight. He seized the sword, gripping it tightly as his instincts took over. He already knew this narrow passage. It was his way in and out of the ruins. Now it would serve as a bottleneck, forcing the wolves to attack in smaller numbers. The man fought with all his strength, the sword flashing in the dim light as he cut down wolf after wolf. Blood stained the stone floor as his muscles burned, but he refused to falter. Every swing of the blade was driven by desperation and determination to protect the helpless creature behind him. Yet the wolves kept coming. Their snarls filled the air, their glowing eyes pressing closer. The man's breath came in ragged gasps, and his arms trembled under the relentless assault. His vision blurred, and he stumbled. A claw raked across his side, and pain seared through him. Just as the final blow was about to fall, time froze. The wolves stopped mid-lunge, their snarls frozen in the air. The man's breath caught as the statue's voice boomed, reverberating through the stillness. "I have stopped time," the statue declared. "I will ask you once more. If you stay here, you will die. Go through the portal, and you will live, but the creature will perish. What do you choose?" The man's heart pounded as he looked at the portal, glowing with promise, then at the small, injured creature trembling behind him. He clenched his fists and turned to face the statue. "I don't know who I am," he said, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. "But I know this. I'm not the kind of person who would leave someone to die, no matter what it is." The statue's voice echoed coldly. "In that case, die." Time resumed. The wolves lunged forward, their jaws snapping with merciless hunger. The man swung his blade, deflecting one attack and cutting down another, but his movements slowed. Blood dripped from his wounds and his vision blurred. A wolf sank its teeth into his shoulder, pulling him to the ground. He roared in defiance, driving his blade through the beast, but another leapt at his throat. Pain exploded as claws raked across his chest and he fell. The snarls and growls grew louder as the wolves descended, tearing into him. In his final moments, his thoughts turned to the creature he had tried to save. Even as his strength failed and darkness consumed him, there was no regret in his heart. His last breath carried the faintest whisper, "I'm sorry." The wolves feasted, and the clearing fell silent once more, leaving only the blood-stained ruins and the still body of the nameless man. But then, a faint tremor rippled through the ground, and the air shimmered unnaturally. The man's torn and broken body began to stir. He gasped, his chest heaving as though pulled from the depths of some unseen abyss. His clothes were shredded, soaked in blood, and his hands trembled violently. Terror filled his wide eyes as he looked down at his ruined body, unable to comprehend what had just happened. The haunting echo of laughter filled the air. Low, sharp, ha 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 ha, yet tinged with satisfaction. The statue's voice boomed, reverberating with an almost celebratory tone. "You rise again," it said. "Congratulations. Against all odds, you have proven yourself." The man's torn and blood-stained clothes were no longer a testament to his defeat, but to his struggle and sacrifice. As he stood, trembling but alive, his body was restored. The wounds that had nearly claimed him were gone, and strength returned to his limbs. Overwhelmed, the nameless man dropped to his knees, his voice trembling. "Thank you," he said, his words barely above a whisper, then louder, steadier. "Thank you for your kindness and your wisdom, great guardian. I owe you my life." Still dazed, he looked around frantically. "Where is it? The creature. Where is it? Did it die too? Can you bring it back?" The statue's laughter filled the chamber again, this time tinged with amusement rather than cruelty. "Ha ha 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 ha. Calm yourself, traveler," it said, the glowing eyes flickering with mirth. "Worry not. The creature was never in danger. It was me all along." The statue's eyes burned brightly. "I have judged you and found your heart to be pure and kind. For giving me such amusement and showing unwavering resolve, I shall grant you entrance to this wonderful world, and wish you deserve but also a parting gift to aid you on the path ahead." The nameless man fell to his knees, his voice shaking but filled with reverence. "Thank you. Thank you for your kindness and wisdom, great guardian. I owe you everything." The statue's gaze fixed upon the young man, its voice echoing once more. "You have shown courage and compassion beyond measure. Now tell me, what is your wish?" The young man hesitated, his gaze falling to the ground as he considered the weight of the question. Memories eluded him, yet something stirred deep within, a longing for meaning, for purpose. He looked up at the statue, his voice steadier than before. "I wish to remember who I am," he said, "to know why I was brought here, and what my purpose is. I don't need riches or power. I need answers. The statue's glowing eyes dimmed slightly, and its voice, though still resonant, carried a note of regret. I am sorry, it said. Though I hold great power, I cannot grant you the answers you seek. Your origins lie beyond my reach, in a world I do not know. Even with my divine strength, I cannot send you back to it. That door is closed. The nameless man's heart sank. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. The weight of the revelation settled heavily upon him, yet he did not bow beneath it. Instead, he straightened, his resolve hardening. Then I will find my purpose here, he said firmly, even if I must carve it out with my own hands. The statue's eyes flickered, studying him for a long moment before it spoke again. You stand at the threshold of endless possibilities, it said, its tone shifting from solemnity to curiosity. You have asked for answers that even I cannot provide. Yet there is still, it will bind to you, become a part of you, and grow as you do. But remember this, such gifts carry burdens. Do not squander it, or it may consume you. The sphere of light drifted toward the young man, enveloping him. Warmth spread through his body as the energy fused with his being. He felt his strength return tenfold, his muscles surging with newfound vitality. His body became lighter, more agile, and an ethereal mark etched itself upon his hand, an emblem of the Guardian's blessing. It pulsed faintly, a symbol of protection and purpose. When the light faded, the chamber fell silent once more, but its voice lingered. Go now and shape your destiny. The Guardian's voice resonated one final time before the light within its eyes began to fade. Ah, I nearly forgot your parting gift, it said. In the nameless man's hands appeared a map and a compass, both radiating an otherworldly craftsmanship. These tools are rare, treasures in this world. Guard them well and do not flaunt them before strangers. This map, the Guardian continued, is unlike any other. It reveals the entire world, a view no mortal has ever possessed. It is unique, and should you lose it, nothing can replace it. As the Guardian's form began to harden into lifeless stone, silence fell. But then, its voice echoed one final time. Go into this world and find your name. The light within the chamber faded, and the Guardian fell silent, becoming a statue once more. For a moment, the young man stood in awe, clutching the map and compass tightly. Then, as if in response to the Guardian's words, the world stirred. The rustle of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the soft crackle of branches replaced the stillness. The air felt different, alive, full of possibilities. The nameless man took a deep breath and stepped forward, his resolve firm as he crossed the threshold into the unknown. And if you're still here, thank you, and I hope I see you soon. Please like, subscribe, and cheer me on in the comments.